Hello and welcome to another English podcast with Paul. I'm your host, Paul. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back. Today we're talking about robots, specifically the differences between Tesla robots and Boston Dynamic robots. So, unless you've been living under a rock, what is Boston Dynamic robots? Okay, so they've been around for quite a few years. They're kind of connected with the US military, and they're a robot manufacturer in Boston, in America. Like I said, they're kind of connected with the US military, and so maybe a lot of funding, but obviously very scary thoughts connecting the robots and the military. Okay, right. So, in Boston, they kind of make their robots aimed at warehousing and on the factory floor, that kind of thing, labor intensive things, to prevent people with bad backs, things like that. Okay, but that's what they're mostly about: warehousing and production line, that kind of stuff. All right. But most notably, they are programmed and not AI. They are just programmed robots that are given a set of instructions to do a simple task over and over and over again. So Boston Dynamics. Now you may want to type that into YouTube or Google, and you'll see some really amazing videos of robots doing dances and even like a robot dog and things like that. Some really amazing stuff that can happen now. They run on batteries generally. These dogs and this other one. There's two most famous. One is Atlas, which stands up like a man, like 5 foot tall, and can carry stuff and do a little bit of parkour. Obviously, it's all rehearsed and well executed and videoed. And there's also a dog kind of thing, and that's specifically sort of designed to go around big factories, and like dangerous places where there may be some gases or radiation or some other nasty things in the air, and to be able to go in and shut off valves, open doors, things like that. So it's this clever bit of kit. You should go and watch the video. Spot, he's called Spot the dog, Boston Dynamics. And there is some really funny spoofs. So spoof means a copy of, but for fun. All right, a copy of for fun, a spoof, a joke. Bosstown Dynamics, they're called, the Bosstown Dynamics. Shout out to them. They make some amazing videos. So you can also watch behind the scenes as well to see how they make it. It's very good stuff. Bosstown Dynamics. Okay, so Boston Dynamics makes robots very strong, productive, and repetitive, but also dumb, not connected in any way with any AI or any machine learning or anything like that. Just regular robots that are not connected in any way. So on the other hand, we have the Tesla bots. If you see me looking down, it's because I got my notes just down below the screen. So we've got the Tesla bots. And they're a bit chunky and, sorry, not chunky, clunky and slow. And not quite as exciting and not quite as interesting. They're very, very slow. They look like they're a few years behind. But, as you know, Tesla pays a lot of money, employs a lot of good designers and engineers and inventors and on robotics and all that sort of stuff. They throw a lot of money at it. And they tend to have a process where they learn and grow very, very quickly. So they've only been out for a year or so, and already they've got what they call a bipedal robot, a humanoid robot. And Tesla are saying they're going to mass produce these robots for I don't know, for people, for companies, as kind of labor to help people not getting bad backs, not getting injured, and doing those repetitive and mundane tasks over and over again. That's what they're designed for. Okay, so that's where we are with that. Right, okay, so let's just have a quick look at some other robots. Let's have a quick look at some other robots. So some of my students know that I often use another site with lots of articles on it. This one is called Engo. Engo. And here there's allegedly 232 articles about robots. And I say allegedly because sometimes there's a few that's not anything connected with robots. So the first one is a waiter from the future. This is just to give you a bit of background of where robots are now and where we're looking at with these Tesla bots. Just a little bit of understanding. So you got waiting robots. Tokyo has made a new robot that you can be inside of. There's a couple of famous films, sci-fi films, going back 10 years or so, where they show the future, and one of these things, like for unloading cargo lorries, is this big mechanoid machine, kind of like a forklift and a man combined. So you get inside it and you can operate and lift really heavy things. There was also one like this in the Avatar films, this mechanoid thing. So Tokyo company is offering a giant robot for $2.7 million. So we're still talking a lot of money here. All right, more cooking. Here we go. Look, this one here is similar to Atlas Robot by Boston Dynamics. Robot shows the future of construction. So this one is designed for carrying and lifting heavy objects. Panasonic have made a robot that talks and farts and nods. Very emotional and connective with a human. So there's a young girl holding this soft robot that can interact, I suppose. Then there's another one here where the robot replaces elephant. I guess that's a lot of animatronics, yeah, to take out the humane aspect of using real life elephants. So I don't know whether that's for showmanship, whether it's to help, I don't know, make more money with tourists. I don't know. Okay, what else we got? Grocery shopping robots. Grocery robot detects spills. Okay, so that would be a great robot, a robot that would go around the supermarket and clean up the glass to save anybody from having to do that themselves and potentially cut their fingers and stuff like that. So that's obviously a good idea. Cooking robot again. Robot could be girl's ticket to the future. So I think some primary school girl helped build a computer. Then we're talking about some really, really clever looking robots that are designed to be connected with humans with regards to facial expressions and have a very lifelike approach, lifelike movement of their face, which does seem a little bit scary. Yeah, that's kind of like from the films of the future. All right, and we got robot ready to work in a restaurant. Again, so a lot of these robots are very slow, not moving, doing very small niche areas, not doing a lot, to be honest. Some that can play the piano. Amazon unveils Astro Robot for the home. So I guess that's like a Zumba. Is it Zumba? No, that's a dance. What is it called? Roomba vacuum hoover that goes around your carpet. Robot that goes around. So it's got wheels and can go around with like an Alexa and screen on the front of it. So it just wheels around your house and follows you, whether it plays music and answers questions or what, I don't know. We could look into that. That's Amazon. All right, these are all here to look at, and this is a brilliant site if you're learning English. It's called Engo.com. All right, I'm not affiliated, I'm not sponsored, but I do use it. My students like it. I like it. Engo.com, free to use. All right, so yeah, music. Again, very much service industry related. Waiters, waitresses, tour guides. Branches out. Telescopic learning. What else we got? Again, another piano one. I think that was a famous robot, that one there. What was it? I can't remember what it's called now. But that's been in a lot of Pepper. That's it, Pepper. Been in a lot. See, these are Boston Dynamics. And you should see the funny things they do with that in the spoofs. But this one was like petrol orientated with generators on it. And it's designed to carry like heavy backpacks for the military over all sorts of terrain, like maybe a disaster zone or something like that, and still be able to carry stuff. It's really, really loud though, really loud. Okay, Dubai gets first robot cop. Ugh. Okay, now if you ever watch or listen to David Attenborough, that's the correct way of saying it, David Attenborough, all right, one of the British TV presenters that has made hundreds of nature shows and nature programs. David Attenborough, in a lot of his TV shows, I think a lot of them are bought up by Discovery now, which is an American company. In a lot of his shows, not only does he speak beautifully well articulated English, British English, but they're using a lot of robots. If you watch some of the behind the scenes shows, they'll show a lot of robots pretending to be animals, to be like a spy. I think that's what they call it, like a spy in the mist and something like that. Really interesting if you like robots. And David Attenborough's voice. I mean, who doesn't like his voice? He's a angelic, velvety voice. David Attenborough. All right, yeah, so those are very, very good robots. A lot of behind the scenes, very interesting. Right, okay, what else we got? Oh yeah, we got those like Deliveroo robots that are supposed to be delivering to people in the streets. Flying robots are coming to the US. So I think that's like the Inspire 1. Really good cameras. I think they can only fly for about half an hour though. But I don't know, is that spying on us? Is that a robot? Is that a drone? Is that the same thing? Robot, drone? Interesting. Microsoft employs robot as a security guard. Ooh, that looks interesting and scary. Wow. Anyway, you get the gist of it. There's a lot of robots out there. This is like one of the first robots, Asimo. One of the very first robots that they taught to walk. Took a long time. So yeah, you get the gist of it. There's a lot of robots out there trying to do some of the really mundane, silly, boring stuff that us humans don't want to do. Okay, so there's lots and lots of that. All right, what else we got? So I said they're basically built to do all the boring, stupid, mundane stuff. But more so about the Tesla bots, how they're very, very interesting. Is because they're based on visual learning, as you would imagine with Tesla. It's all about cameras, not LiDAR, but about cameras. Because Elon believes that's the way we see the world, that's the way we learn, and that's the way we interact with the world, through vision, through seeing. Hence why his cars, his Tesla cars, do not have LiDAR. It's very expensive, he says, and not as reliable as a camera and learning, AI-powered machine learning. So, machine learning, you might hear that term a lot. I think that's more based about how a machine is able to maximize the amount of learning and the amount of hours and crunching the numbers and the data and really make vast improvements each iteration and generation that it's working. I'm not a computer engineer. I don't know the ins and outs of it exactly, and it still confuses me, to be honest. I get a little bit confused with it. There's also swarm learning and swarm mentality. We'll get onto that in a moment. So yeah, going back to the visual learning with the cameras. So this robot is able to identify exactly where its hands are, where it must have some sort of I don't know, like like stop motion where they have an actor dressed in a suit with like little ping pong balls all over it, so the cameras can pick it up, and then eventually they do CGI over the top of it. There's a very similar kind of thing, with the, what was it, Microsoft. I think this is really what pushed it forward, was the Microsoft camera that went on top of your TV that watched all your motions. That is what Microsoft Connect. I think that's one of the cameras and the software that really moved everything forward. So with this robot, it's able to see where its hands are in real time in space. So it can calculate exactly how much to move, but it just makes the whole thing a lot quicker and easier for the machine, and I guess, you know, that's how things get better and better and better. Okay, so that's one of the major things. Also, in the video, so this is on a video, you get to see the robot pick up these like Lego blocks, well, the Duplo blocks, I would call it, bigger blocks. And the person or the human there is moving the blocks out of the way and moving around. And so the AI robot is able to, the robot with AI is able to change where it puts its hands in respect to where the block is being moved. And therefore it's in real time moving the colored objects. And that's the other thing, colored. So we've got like green blocks going one side and blue blocks in the other. And it's picking them up from the middle of the table, putting them into the correct box on either side of where the robot stood. And even one of the blocks gets knocked over, and the robot is able to articulate his hand to pick the block up very smoothly and gently, almost like a child or an adult. So that was pretty incredible, especially being it's, you know, like 1 year anniversary, and it's moved so far so quick already, and that's really amazing. So that's another thing. What else we got here? So then how they build on that and the experience and the generations again and again and again. Tesla really has decades and decades of machine learning, AI. They're building their own chip, and lots of interesting aspects about that really help Tesla be well ahead of everybody else. So not just all that experience and engineers and well, just all that genius within Tesla, but all that experience with the car, you know, the machine learning again and again and again with the car on top of what they already know and have built. So it's pretty incredible stuff. Right, what else we got? So yeah, I said about swarm learning. Well, actually, I've got a clip of it. If you want to see a clip of it, I got a clip of it here. All right, let's have a quick swoosh of it. All right, bear with me. So yeah, here it is. I don't know if you can hear the volume, but so yeah, the mechanoid robot is still very clunky and very small, not moving very well. But you can see how it can see its own hands. Yeah, like I said, there we go, putting it in the correct box in the right place. And now from the perspective of the robot. I don't know if this is sped up, but it looks pretty smooth. Now, I think that's amazing. And look, so, yeah, that looks a little bit sped up to me. But how the human is interacting with the robot, and the robot is still continuing to pick up the pieces and, like I said, rotate it up. So, as I said, so that's pretty flipping amazing if you ask me. I mean, where are we going next from here? Where are we going next? I don't know. It's crazy times, huh? Crazy times. So that's the robot. That's what we're at now. Now, if you put that with the machine learning, the swarm learning that Tesla has from all those cars, those millions and millions of miles and millions of data sets from all those that go up into the cloud, I don't know if it's Tesla cloud or whatever it is, but if you put all that information in, and those systems that are built on top of other systems that really help move the Tesla car forward with that self-driving, self-parking, aware of the steering wheel, lane changing, the just machine vision. I mean, let's talk about that. The Tesla machine vision is just fantastic. It's just crazy. You know, there's this camera that can pick up people, objects, and make real-time calculations, and obviously super fast when it comes to the car. So you imagine the speed of the chips and the processing power to be able to stop when a ball runs out or a dog runs out in front on the road. That's amazingly quick stuff. That's really, really good reaction times. Now, all right, it's not all around the world yet, and it's not, approved by all governments yet, and there's still a little way to come. But I suspect that that car has done almost every kind of route and path you can imagine. So I don't know what it would be like in say Asia, where there's no road markings and you kind of got to go with your gut instinct of when to stop, when to move over, when you can go and things like that. It may be a different story then, but I'd imagine its capabilities would cope with that okay. So if all that vision, data set, experience you have already with the cars, and they've been going a while now, and you put all that into the robot, and then if you take into account that Elon Musk said that ChatGPT had a lot of data learning from Twitter. He's now he's no longer part of ChatGPT and he wants to set up his own. Think of all the information from Twitter that you can harvest, that you can mine to put into the robot. In machine learning, whether you're talking about baby steps, whether you're talking about colors, whether you're talking about motion and movement, all that information, just on a very base level, is phenomenal. It really is. And then you think about all the other information that ChatGPT is learning and accumulating. If you put that into the robot of AI learning, you imagine Bard or ChatGPT in 2, 3, 4 years' time, it being so clever and so intellect to a level where you can have a really good conversation. And then some of those other robots we looked at, with the facial expressions and the color of the latex on the face to make it look like skin and the eyelashes. So you put that face on a Tesla robot with the next few generations of a ChatGPT, and with some of the knowledge of, say, what Boston Dynamics can do now, if you imagine Tesla robots in, say, 5 years' time, with the amount of money he chucks at that and research that he throws at those robots, it's just unfathomable, the level and the where you could go with these robots. I know, we often look at sci-fi TV shows and we fantasize how the future could be amazing and brilliant and the best thing ever, and but that is definitely something we need to think about. If Elon Musk can make these robots that good with the dexterity of Boston Dynamics and the intellect of ChatGPT equivalent, and then the lifelike facial expressions of these other robots, that he's on a real big winner there. People are going to want these everywhere, aren't they? Even now, right? Even because Elon Musk can sell anything. He can sell ice to Eskimos. That's a common saying. We use ice to Eskimos as a salesperson. So Elon Musk even sold flamethrowers, and raised, what was it, 10 million. I mean, flamethrowers. Who would think that a car company wants to sell flamethrowers just to raise a bit of capital? It's mad. It's mad. Clever man, very clever man. Well, he's a billionaire, so he must be fairly clever. My hat's off to him for that. That's another phrase we use, hats off to that, meaning a bow of respect. Okay, so yeah, it's incredible to think where this would go. So I just got a few more notes down here about what's next. So what could we do next? What are the top 10 things we'd like the robot to do? So like take the bins out, put away the dishes, sort out the recycling, pick up and sort the laundry. So we can do the colours. So why can't he pick out the recycling? Why can't I pick out the darks from the lights with the laundry when you do two separate colours? maybe the robot will be able to tell the material and texture. This is wool, so it needs to go on a very low wash. You and I know that. The robot doesn't know that yet. Interesting, okay? Most husbands don't know that, and children, but there you go. What else? Sorting the laundry, putting away the shopping. Nobody likes doing that. Or emptying the dishwasher. So changing a light bulb. Now that sounds pretty basic and straightforward. Most people can do that. What about something different? What about using a fire extinguisher? Let's say, for example, that your teenager has put on a pizza in the oven or put some toast on and it's got stuck. Or there's, pizza in the oven and he's gone to sleep or something. It's 12 at night, midnight. And everybody in the house is asleep. And the smoke alarm goes off. What about if before the smoke alarm goes off, the robot is already there, opened up the door and extinguished the fire, extinguished the pizza? I mean, nobody's going to eat the pizza. What about that? I mean, that's a really good use case scenario, using a fire extinguisher, because that's kind of a thing that you don't expect children to do. So if this robot is more useful than a child, or as useful as a 10-year-old child, then that's surely a big asset to the family. That's a really big bonus. It's like having I don't want to say a nanny. It's like having an extra person around to help that you don't have to feed and pay. All right. Normal things, making a tea and a coffee. That's pretty straightforward. And answering the doorbell. Maybe you're in the shower and you think, oh my goodness, I don't want to be doing this now. I don't want to be jumping out in the shower just to answer the door to a salesperson, something like that. So answering the door would be pretty good thing to do. If it's a package it needs to be signed for, or it needs to come inside. Something like opening the door to let in maybe you're a member of the family that's forgot their key. Okay. Right, what other activities would you want from it? Let's pretend all the above activities are already possible in 2 years. And that's not a far stretch, is it? 2 years to be able to answer the door, make a cup of tea, put away the dishes and the laundry. So that's not too big a deal. What about after that? What else would you want it to do? Would you want it to cook? Would you want it to clean? Would you want it to walk the dog? All right. So that's something to think about. What other activities would we want it to do? Okay. So yeah, that's an interesting experiment, thinking about the future. Right. Would it, on more a bit of an ethical level now, or a moral issue, would it replace a spouse? Would it replace romance, conversation, intimacy? The porn industry has made a lot of innovations with the internet and technology. So would that go down that route? Would that move things forward with that money, that kind of money? Obviously, very much like the military fund a lot of new developments and innovation. Money makes innovation. So that's not too far what's the term? Too far of a stretch to think that the porn industry could have some impact into the moving forward of robotics. I'm sure already there's some stuff out there that I don't want to know about. Taking the children to school. So already, you could see Tesla with the self-driving car, and then with the robot escorting the children to the car, and then, the car stops outside, children get out, car goes back. How much could your house be automated in the future? Scary to think. Right, okay. So let's pretend now in 10 years in the future, every household has a bot, like every household has internet. We didn't have it 10 years ago really, but now we do. Everybody has it. It's commonplace. So what about if the robot, that Tesla robot or something similar, is in every house in 10 years time? What are we thinking about then? What would the family unit look like? Will that have a big impact? Will that make more blended families, where more families break down because some jobs and roles are already filled. You know, that's an interesting thought. What else we got? What else? How's work going to change? Leisure activities. You know, you want to go play tennis, but you haven't got a tennis partner. So, you know, you bring your bot, you play tennis with your bot, play ping pong with your bot. Many activities you could have done with 2 people or 3 people or 4 people, you could probably now do with robots. You want to go for a hike, but you don't want to go on your own and you want to be safe? Take your robot. Take your bot. Interesting. It's kind of like something out of Black Mirror. Now, if you don't know what Black Mirror is, it's a TV series or a TV show where they talk about scary ways the future could happen. You know, it's kind of very gritty and real and normal life, but with some huge sci-fi technology chucked inside. Some of it is kind of real already, especially like if you look at the way China is impeding upon their citizens depending on their behaviors and how they act as citizens. Black Mirror, really, really good TV show. All right, so yeah, how will things change on an ethical and moral level with the family unit, the work and leisure, things like that? Very scary to think about now. Okay, changing things up a little bit now. What will our daily gripes be? You know, like right now, we're like, oh, the internet was so slow. Oh, there was traffic, blah, 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 blah. All these little, like, 21st century moanings and pains and issues and problems. All right, what are they going to be in 10 years' time? What are our daily gripes gonna be? All right, so gripes means problems, issues, little problems, little issues. Maybe you will say something like, "Oh, my bot needs an upgrade every 3 hours. I'm having to charge it. It sat down in the station. My bot is so lazy. It needs a new battery, and that's going to be another, I don't know, £5,000 for a new lithium battery." You know, I'm gonna have to do the dishes myself. I'm gonna have to unpack the shopping myself. Oh, why should I unpack the shopping? Why should I take out the bins? You know, I pay my robot to do that. I bought a robot so I wouldn't have to do that. Now I've got to do it. Oh, so unfair. All right. So there's that kind of thought, that the gripes and moaning we might have in the future, like that. All right. What else we got? Tesla subscription. Oh, Tesla subscription has gone up again. You know, it's now Netflix or Tesla or something else that I'm gonna have to cancel. You know, I can't have audiobooks and Netflix and Tesla and Amazon. Oh, why can't Amazon and Tesla just merge, and so I can have just one monthly subscription? I don't know, something silly like that. All right, so subscriptions. What else? So yeah, then going back to moral and ethical stuff. What about the moral and ethical issues of robot bedtime stories with children? Now, that's obviously a time that an adult and a child would bond and connect and spend quality time together. But more and more you see like people stuck on their phones, not concentrating and not bonding. So I'm talking about more when people are walking their dogs or pushing their child in a pram. You know, they're glued to their phone and they're not like connecting with the child or with the dog. Well, let's go with the pushchair and the pram. They're not connected. You know, they're not giving the eye contact. They're not talking as much. They're not aware of their environment, you know, such as the road and dangers and things. So the phone is taking away more of that personal connection that you could have had. So the next step on from that, would the robot, you know, reading the bedtime stories, would that also be the next stage of disconnect from our children or our social responsibilities, moral responsibilities and ethical responsibilities, connecting with our pets, connecting with our children, maybe also connecting with our elderly parents. You know? Maybe you see the parents just twice a year, Christmas and their birthday. All the rest of the time it's automated by, moonpig.com. I've sent some flowers and a card, happy birthday, happy Father's Day. There you go. Thank you very much. I'll see you at Christmas for a bit of food or something, and then you might not see your elderly parents again for the year. So is that a detachment? Is that an issue with morals and ethics being more and more disconnected? Okay, what else we got? So then let's go back to children. And what about teenagers? What about having more disconnect because of the robots doing the chores? The robots answering the questions and the problems and the issues that teenagers have. Will that increase anxiety for the teenagers? Will that increase their problems and their drama and their life and their feelings of disconnect become magnified? Would it make what I'm saying is, will there be more suicides? Would there be more problematic teenagers? Would there be more, well, suicide is pretty freaking bad, isn't it? Let's just leave it at that. Okay, calm down, Paul, calm down. Disconnect with family, lives and people. All right. Again, on the ethical and moral issue, will we end up paying like a poverty tax, for poverty-stricken families in third world countries that are mining, maybe by hand or by small shovels, to mine out and carve out these minerals that we desperately need, these natural resources, these precious metals, like lithium and cobalt that are being literally mined out by children. And no matter what green labeling there is and greenwashing there is, oh no, we only use ethical partnerships. That's just a facade. That's just a lie. In reality, people and families get their children involved because it increases their productivity. So if you're a family man of physical and working age in a poor country, and you have a child that can work alongside with you, maybe not as good as you, but an extra 50%, that's going to increase your productivity. So you will get your son there. And there's documentaries out there to prove it. I think the documentary that I'm talking about or thinking about, I have in mind, was about Coca-Cola. And I think it was somewhere in Mexico where they said they're not allowed to have their children helping out with their what were they doing? They weren't mining, but they were doing something else. Plantation picking. So I can't remember exactly what it was, but they weren't supposed to have their children there. And they knew in advance when the inspectors were coming, and they knew when the inspectors were gone. And then all the families and children would come back out and carry on the job. Because when you're in poverty, if you can increase your workload, not your workload, if you can increase your work effectively, your work team, I don't know whatever phrase you want to use, and maximize your workload. Again, that's not really right. Maximize your effectiveness, your work effectiveness, by having 2-3 children with you that are not being paid. That money will go to your family and would help your family eat for that week, or slowly help benefit the family in general. That's why families get their children and siblings involved, because it helps the group, it helps everybody all together, which is a normal and natural kind of thing you would expect. So that's where the greenwashing thing doesn't really work. And why are these people being there by hand? There's other mines in Australia being dug up by machines. So why are people doing it by hand? Because it's cheaper. So to mitigate that guilt and that feeling of people in desperate situations putting their health at risk by getting diseases and that they're uneducated about and that they don't know about, because feeding their family is more important, then should we ethically pay a tax, a poor tax? That's a good question to ask. if you're interested in that kind of thing, have a look at Fairphone. Fairphone, they're making steps forward to help those that are at the cold face, we might say, at the face of the raw minerals and the raw hands down in the dirt. They're the ones actually digging the stuff up. So Fairphone are getting really involved. I don't know how much greenwashing they have, but it's a start. It's moving forward. It's becoming more moral, moral obligation, and alleviating some of that guilt so you can sleep better at night. Anyway, Fairphone 5, I think it is now. You're able to fix your own phone. It comes with tools, videos, how to do it, how to upgrade your speakers or any part of your phone. Very clever and very interesting. Fairphone. Right, yes. So, should we pay a poverty tax, for our robots because of the batteries and the lithium? And anyway, yeah. Interesting. Right. Okay. Okay, moving on. Next bit. What about a revolution? A revolution against technology. We have like minimalists that are going back to dumb phones and trying not to have a car and only having 7 t-shirts. This kind of mentality, this kind of, less decisions, less stress in your life. I'm just going to reflect who I am. I'm very minimalist. I'm having a very small carbon footprint on the world. All right, so there's those kind of people. What about, that sort of minimalist, naturalist, having a quiet revolution, a quiet rebellion against AI and against and protesters and placards. Placard is a big poster on a stick. And picketing outside Tesla or outside other big corporations that are pushing their AI. All right. What about if you can't afford to pay your subscription for your Tesla bot? Are you going to have to sit there and watch 2 hours of adverts just so you can get your Tesla bot up and running so it'd do the chores around the house for you? Imagine how crazy that would be. Like, another half hour of watching these stupid adverts, and then my Tesla bot can do the dishes and hoover up and clean up and cook my dinner. How crazy is that? Having to watch adverts to get your bot to do the work that you don't want to do. Crazy. Yeah, so maybe a quiet revolution against some of these companies by not getting involved. Oh, we don't want AI, we don't want intelligent, we want to be disconnected. So there's potentially that in the future. And then moving on from people in the future being less jobs, less connected to society, less value. People are feeling less valued. Universal basic income, they say, will be a thing. I'm not so sure yet. Interesting, especially when you look at other third world countries. It seems like money moves to where it can be maximized, and so production gets moved to the country with the cheapest labor costs. So it was in our own country, like Germany and France and England and America, and now a lot of the time it gets moved to, say, China. And then we realize there's issues with that, not just the carbon footprint, but then distribution channels. Like you look at that, what was it, the Evergreen, that big super tanker that sort of blocked the famous canal. Was it the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal? One of the big canals. And that slowed down a lot of deliveries for a long time. Cost a lot of money, they say, for many industries, because parts were delayed, things were delayed, all because of one tanker, one incident, one problem, so that bottleneck, relying on outsourcing the labor. So it was China did a lot of the labor, and now China is becoming more and more affluent and educated and building themselves up, and so the labor, for cheap labor, people are wanting more money. They're getting a better standard of living in China. So now maybe that big labor market that's needed will now move to Africa. Will Africa now be the next China? Will it have the cheapest labor? Will our call centers and our plastics and stuff we want manufactured in mass, will that all come from Africa? So, universal basic income, I don't know if it's going to happen. Will everybody lose their jobs in the future? Probably not. Probably not. There will be other things to do. Will there be less physically demanding jobs? Maybe, maybe. I look at now summarizing some of this, I look at it as very much like leveling the playing field, leveling out for everybody. So many years ago, maybe in the 70s, if you were very good with numbers, then you become a business person and you can make more money and you're considered smart and intelligent because you're very good at arithmetic, maths, very quick at it in your head. 80s and 90s, the calculator was widely accepted. You know, many people in a shop might say, no, I'd rather you check it on the calculator. You know, I'd rather the computer get it right than you write it down with a bit of paper and make a mistake. You know, and then the advent of the till. In a shop now, you go to the till, beep, beep, beep. It all adds it up for you. Nobody is writing it down with a pen and paper. Nobody's going, oh, hang on. The ketchup, the cornflakes, yeah, that'll be £4. Nobody adds it up in their head anymore, you know? We accept that a calculator, you know, it's not a robot, but it is a computer. We accept that is safer and better for everybody, all right? So a calculator levels the playing field. It doesn't matter now if you're amazing at maths. So what? I got a calculator on my phone. Doesn't matter. And it was the same, you could say the same for knowledge. You know, the old pub quiz, general knowledge. Who's very, very clever? Oh, my friend Dave down the pub. He knows so much. He's like a human encyclopedia. An encyclopedia is a collection of books that has a lot of information, normally in alphabetical order, or sometimes chronological order, depending on the topic, about lots and lots of different things, from the stars and the planets down to insects, biology, chemistry, engineering, all these things. It was like a big stack of books. Anyway, people used to sell them, come to your house and try to sell them. You know, quite expensive. But it gave you a lot of knowledge. And if you're wealthy enough, I wasn't, your family would have some encyclopedias. And when you did your homework as a child, you'd go through the encyclopedia. And it'd be really interesting to read and find out, oh, look at these penguins and this emperor penguin in whatever country it was in. And finding out about it. You know, there's lots and lots of information in this encyclopedia. So that kind of leveled the playing field now. You don't have your mate Dave down at the quiz night that's more intelligent and clever because he knows all this silly trivia information. All right, so that leveled the playing field. Having Google leveled it. Oh, anybody can find out anything, you know. Where's the best place to get, I don't know, a flight to Timbuktu? You know, you can just search everything on Google. So it's level. Everybody can do the same. Now it's the same with ChatGPT and that language learning model and that next level up. You might have some academic that's super clever, or somebody that's into poetry that's very, very good at articulation, or a comedian that's very, very quick and punchy and funny because they're very intellectual and intelligent, able to come up with some good repertoire, good words, good sentences, and articulate their discussion, their argument, all into a really nice packaged format for delivery, you know. But now with the advent of ChatGPT, you've got AI that will make you a script in the style of Casey Neistat, in the style of insert favorite YouTuber, you know. And it's a level playing field now. You can be almost as intelligent as anybody else. You could, I'm not saying you could pretend to be Stephen Hawking, but you could definitely highlight and showcase some of your intellect of articulating yourself in a discussion, or on a video like this by enabling ChatGPT as a tool to you to level up your videos. So now everybody is on this level playing field with the videos. And then that comes the same with homework and your university letter of entry. You know, all these things that was set aside only for clever people now becomes a bit more of a level playing field. So what does that leave? Does that leave super intelligent people? Does that leave only people that are super creative? But then look at DALL-E and other AI generated creative programs that can imagine pictures just from a group of words, you know. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to digest and really work out what it means to you and what you think the future holds. So, but to me, it's leveling the playing field for each and every level. Now, you could argue that just makes everybody stupid. But because I got a calculator in my pocket, does that make me stupid? Just because I can access Google on my phone, does that make me stupid? Because I can use ChatGPT, or because I have a robot to do most of my housework and chores, or does that make me stupid? Or does that free my brain up to do other more interesting, more exciting things that I want to do? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Mention something down below what you think about my background. What do you think about my Rode video mic? I'm going to get an upgrade. Let me know what you think in the comments below about technology, AI, and especially Tesla robots. Let me know what you think. So that's it for today. As always, have fun learning. If you don't have fun, you're not learning. Or is it the way around? Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.